World has kind of died as a game. Yeah, I know people don't want to hear this, but Power World has kind of died as a game. Like, it has actually kind of died pretty quickly. Of course, still way slower than Stellar Blade has, obviously, but um, Power World was this game that became extremely popular. Nintendo fans, especially in Japan, demanded Nintendo to sue Power World, and Nintendo decided to say, listen to the Japanese Nintendo fans, they will look into it, and they found things about Power World as well here. But of course, 4chan is angry because, the 4chan, according to Nintendo mods, our game features a Power World. The Power World is still fairly legally liable to sued over mods, and they refuse to remove mod support. All Power World really had to do was remove the Pokemon mod, like it really was. If Nintendo demanded, like, unfortunately, in the world of copyright, it doesn't matter if it's Nintendo or any other game developer or any other company as well. I'm looking at you, Disney, okay, as well. If they demand a mod to be removed, you have to remove it. So Power World is basically a game where it's very similar to a game like Ark, where you go around and capture creatures to make them do work for you. Unlike, Ark, where they're basically just animals that just sit there as well. The powers are actually like actual like creatures that walk around and do stuff for you. You can, put them in balls and form around. It's actually very, very similar to Ark. The gameplay is actually very similar to Ark. It actually isn't like Pokemon. If Power World was truly a ripoff of Pokemon, it would have 8 gyms. It would have wild areas you can, catch pals in and battle other people's pals in pal battles or something like that as well. But it's actually very similar to a game like Ark as well. Refuse to move mod support. Nintendo is also bringing the core to the Pokemon mod the case. Target the Power World success relies on the little theft of Pokemon art. Yep. So basically, the whole reason why Power World is successful is because of the comparisons to Pokemon as well. And this is why I kept saying that calling a game a ripoff or quote unquote clone of another game is a bad idea, okay? That's why I don't like the idea of the term Metroidvania, because, well, Nintendo wakes up one day and says, oh, the term Metroidvania infringes on our copyright, our Metroid, blah, 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 even though it's a term, and, it's a term that's been used by people, for a decade almost, as well, okay, and, same thing with calling something like a Halo clone or a Call of Duty clone or blah, blah, okay? Because there's tons of games that we call Pokemon clones. Yokai Watts, Digimon, and many, many more, but they were never sued by Nintendo. Heck, Nintendo even endorsed Yokai Watts and put them exclusive to the platform. Okay? Keep in mind, mod support has been there for Power World from the start. Allows players to customize their experience, allows them to reintroduce game features that Masuda forced them to remove to the lawsuit. Terrifying, Nintendo X Power World card suit has had cascades of criticism about the industry as well here. And it's not just Nintendo. This is probably like one of the biggest lawsuits in probably the recent years in gaming as well. Given the fact that, Power World is an indie game and Nintendo is a billion-dollar company as well here. But yeah, it is kind of sad that, the whole idea of a game being similar to another game warrants a lawsuit. I think is pretty sad because it basically douses away creativity in the gaming industry. Whether you support Nintendo or not, or support Power World or not, suing a game just because a game is slightly similar, has slight similarities to an already existing game. Because what's stopping from Nintendo to suing Digimon, the most well-known ripoff of Pokemon, or Yokai Watts, okay? But Nintendo has never done that because they have accepted, hey, Power World, Pokemon, Digimon and Yokai Watts can coexist, but Power World cannot. And this is something that we don't know that Nintendo does know as well. For example, Power World infringes on patents for Pokemon, according to Nintendo. Again, any game can quote unquote infringe on a patent. Any monster collecting game quote unquote can infringe on it, like for example Digimon and Yokai Watch. But Digimon games and Yokai Watch games have been on Nintendo platforms for decades. It's only Power World that it gets attacked by Nintendo. But anyone can be sued for any game mod, even when some games can't even move mod support. And yeah, it seems that modding may come to an end as well. So that means if you want to play as Luke Skywalker in Minecraft, well, that means Disney has every right to remove that mod if they want to. And unfortunately, that's just the world of copyright. And when something is fair use, which very few things are fair use, because most IPs have been created since 1930, which means most intellectual properties, are not in the public domain. Okay, which sets a huge precedent in the death of video game modding. Yes, for a while, video game modding allowed a lot of very cool things, like putting Goku in characters that should never be in Smash Bros. And Smash Bros. Putting, characters is like lightsabers in Minecraft or Halo enemies in Minecraft. Okay, love Mojang sees those and whoever sees like sees the dinosaur model and says, hey, this infringes on Jurassic World or something like that as well. We must remove it at all costs as well. Okay, and I think we might see a huge crackdown on mods related to intellectual properties as well. So basically, kind of say goodbye to your Goku and Smash Bros. Mod as well, because Nintendo and I think especially Japanese companies, I think, are notoriously very, very, very strict on copyright. Not just Nintendo, okay? Toei Animation, is very, very strict on copyright with the whole Dragon Ball, Abridged as well, which technically Dragon Ball Z Abridged is a parody, which parodies are actually protected by the law as well. Okay. And it even said that Dragon Ball Z Abridged is a parody made by fans. It's not meant to violate the law, or it's not meant to lose money for Dragon Ball, as parodies are meant to exist and are protected by the law, but at least they're allowed to keep Dragon Ball, abridged on YouTube as well but Japanese game companies and movie companies and anime companies are very, very, very protective over the IPs as well. And yeah, that's what this video here. Goodbye.